Hi, it's Joy and today we're watching Heartstopper Season 1, Episode 5, Friend, which, I don't know, does that mean that they're just friends, or, you know, I don't know, just, oh yeah, he's just a friend to me, or something more? I don't know. It's going to be stressful, it's going to be awkward. Nick has a date with a girl who really likes him and who he does not like in return. It's going to be intensely awkward, but also intensely adorable. I hope if it carries on like it has been. Thank you so much, Natasha, for sponsoring, and let's go.
I'm winning because I have more money. No, the winner is the superior business.
See how things aren't changing. You still have your games nights.
I just don't like Nick. I've seen him with those nasty 11s at the school gate. If they say anything mean to Charlie, I'm going to crush them.
Crush them? I was thinking of inviting Nick to my birthday thing on Saturday.
Maybe.
I really want him to come, but okay.
Nick and Charlie need to talk.
About our date.
He's trying to break it off.
See, I wasn't sure if...
My dog died last night.
Oh god. The worst timing in the world.
He was really old.
And now he's not going to want to break her heart or embarrass her or anything.
Nothing.
Just be honest with her.
Shall we meet at Nando's for dinner?
I get that, like, he's a nice person, and in general this situation is awkward enough as it is to break up with someone, or even if you didn't want to date them in the first place, and she kind of peer pressured you into saying yes. But you also feel like, I don't want to make her feel worse, but her dog has died, so like she can't be more upset at a date losing than losing the dog, so maybe this is a win?
And then we could go to the cinema?
Ahmed, here.
Sweetheart.
Here.
Me and my friends are going bowling.
Oh, is that the same day as the date?
I ask if you wanted to come, but I know you don't really know them, so you don't have to.
Yes.
Nick and Charlie, keep it down, please. Stanley. Come on.
Thanks for giving me belly.
Just break up with Imogen.
You don't have to get me a present.
No, I am gonna.
I'm serious. Imogen told me you're meeting up on Saturday. Like, she's telling everyone, actually.
Well, just, okay, first of all, tell her the truth. Second of all, say, oh, I thought we do it on Friday night. But I was thinking Sunday. Like,
Yeah, I forgot.
Oh, boys, watch this.
oh, this twat.
Harry, don't start.
What? Are you best friends with these weird little year 10s?
Stop picking on people for no reason.
Nick, you need to start sticking up for people.
Classic Harry, resorting to homophobia when you can't think of a good comeback.
Mate, are you in a mood today?
Are you? When your only personality trait is rich bellend.
I know you're trying to help, but you're making things worse.
I'm literally just sticking up for you. We have to show
Oh,
Harry
this is
he can't just
awful.
walk all over us.
I really don't want him to be dragged into this.
Oh, well, we can't possibly hurt your new best friend, Nick Nelson.
See, this is where I think, you know, again, I totally understand, and I really, really love Charlie for keeping Nick's secret and for keeping, like, doing what he thinks Nick wants him to do to protect him, but telling Charlie's friends, who are very supportive about LGBT problems and would probably get much more of an understanding about Nick, would actually potentially help the situation between them a little bit. They'd have a safe space, but at the same time I also understand that Charlie knows what it's like to be outed, and he knows what it's like to be bullied by these idiots, and Nick is doing his best. It is a mess, and Tao does just want to protect his friend.
I said I'd go on a date with this girl, but I kind of also agreed to go to Charlie's birthday party on the same day.
Oh, do you like this girl?
Well,
No.
her dog died.
Yeah.
Not following.
I don't think I like her like that.
Yeah, you know, you shouldn't go out with someone just because you feel sorry for them.
No.
Yeah.
Don't worry. The right girl will come along. Just you wait.
Talk to her. That is the kind of comment that, like, you say without thinking in our heteronormative society. I still have hope that Olivia Colman is going to be a supportive parent. I have zero evidence. I know nothing about the show beyond the fact that vaguely that Nick played rugby and that Charlie was a geek. Geekier than him. Was basically what I knew about the show. But Olivia Colman is everything, so therefore she can't be homophobic, and if she is, I will write to the people that made the show and be like, why did you cast her? But that is the kind of comment that people make without thinking, which is why, potentially, Nick has not realised that he is gay or bi, and we've talked about this before, he doesn't have to have a label or know exactly everything that's going on. That's why I just, it's so easy in our society, even when you are someone that is an ally or is supportive or doesn't care if your kid is gay, you know what I mean? Like, oh yes, as long as you're happy. Because truly, 100%, when I have children, I will just want them to find somebody that makes them happy. And I dread to think that I might one day say something like that without thinking, because of just the society we're in that it's drilled in. And you don't notice that your kid is just spiralling and you've made it worse, because she could so easily have said the right person will come along, and then that would have just lightened Nick's entire life.
You came. Of course I did. Happy birthday. I
Oh.
said you didn't have to get me anything. And I ignored
But
you.
he's falling for you.
Ready to meet them?
Yeah.
I hope they can get to know Nick a bit.
Everyone?
Though two different friend groups combining can be beautiful, and it can be so awkward.
Good. Try to get to know him.
Try.
He's at the party.
You've got an unfair advantage.
I thought you liked my arms.
Shut up.
Is everyone ready for round two?
Oh,
I'm just gonna go find the bathroom.
and this is the awkward time when you're left alone.
I'm gonna go talk to him.
About?
Do you want...
How no? It's his birthday.
Yeah. Not on his freaking birthday, you don't, okay? You could have told him before his birthday, you could tell him after his birthday, let him have this day where he's feeling happy and special, okay? Because, you know, maybe if anything, talk to Nick. I know you don't know him, and you can be like, look, I've heard that you're going on this... Oh no, actually, I suppose that would out Charlie's feelings for them, and they don't know that... In my brain then I was thinking they knew, but no, of course they don't know that Nick is actually with Charlie in any way, so it would be weird if he talked to Nick. But yeah, just today is the worst thing. Before today is better. At the sleepover when he brought it up would have been better. Now he's just ruining his pretty wonderful birthday.
I feel so sorry for the popular rugby lad who's almost getting picked on because he dares to hang out with someone below his popularity status.
You know that's not
Here comes the
Now you gotta
awkward.
tell me I'm just being jealous.
There is definitely an element of that.
Just
I do
don't
think
like
you
seeing him
also
mess
want to
with you.
protect.
Do you really think he's messing me around?
He's...
My friend.
Fine.
Talk to Charlie.
If he is even...
Hi, I haven't overheard anything.
Just go.
Oh. He cares about you so deeply, and he's going through it, and you're going through it, and you're keeping his secret and protecting him and believing in him, and that means everything right now.
I don't know if this thing with Charlie is a joke or not, but for some reason he really likes you, and you're messing with him, and I will not tolerate it. So consider this your final warning.
At least he's telling him how he feels.
She just asked me out, and I was so surprised, and all our mates were watching and expecting me to say yes, and I was
Panicked?
such an idiot. I just blurted out yes because I didn't know how to say no without embarrassing her and confusing all our mates. And then her dog died, and I
Yeah.
felt really bad for her, and I'm so sorry.
He's figuring stuff out.
What you always tell me not to say.
Oh.
Yeah, but I should have met you when I was younger.
Yeah?
You're still so young, sweetheart.
When he didn't have time to go out and buy you something. So, sorry, it's a bit handmade.
That is the cutest thing I've ever seen in my entire life.
One of my favourite days ever, so.
Oh.
I really like you.
You like me?
Wasn't that obvious? Do you like me?
I think he does, yeah.
Obviously.
Why are we like this? Okay,
Oh,
You don't have to.
I want to.
he
You
does.
sure?
I think there's almost a part of him that would want it to be found out so that it could just be done with. That. Bless him. They're very sweet as well. Realizations are being had.
Do you ever feel like you're only doing things because everyone else is?
Yeah, that's the kind of
You're
friendship
scared
group
to
Nick is in.
change. for a really long time.
This is a really brave revelation, sweetheart.
I guess that's how I've been feeling.
I think I get it,
Hmm. Being young is hard.
for being honest.
Proper thick about a girl sometimes, aren't you, mate?
No, Nick. We got through this though. Freedom a little bit. Okay, so my favourite thing about this episode, other than just in general Nick and Charlie's cuteness, which every time it happens, it's every episode, was seeing Nick interact with Charlie's friends for the first time. And you can kind of close your eyes and imagine a future where he could just be part of that friendship group. He could just be there, feel comfortable with being himself. Obviously in this episode there was little elements of that, but he was still very much both the awkwardness of being the person that doesn't know anyone else there that very well, and also the awkwardness of everything he was keeping secret. But I think, in a way, him overhearing Tao and Charlie helped because it A, showed Charlie believe in him and showed Charlie keeping his secret. Even when it would have been so much easier to say to Charlie, he is gay, he's just struggling with it. And then probably Tao would have been like, I mean, he might have been like, I don't know, I believe that. But part of him would have been like, oh, respect, like, I will help too. You know, kind of, I don't know, like, I think potentially if other people knew, it would help diffuse the situation, at least in their friendship group. But Charlie kept his secret and he stayed believing in him, even though Nick had done the thing that Charlie was being warned about. I think it helped sort of, I mean, it didn't help, I think Nick knew what Charlie was sort of doing for him, but it reminded Nick of just that Charlie is going through stuff too because of their fledgling romance, and that, like, he's sort of having to sort of figure out ways to get through it, but he's staying strong and he's believing in Nick. They were adorable in every single interaction they had. It's almost at the point where I'm like, I know that Tao kind of looked at them and assumes Nick is playing Charlie, that maybe it's going to be some epic prank and he and his horrible friends are going to... Nick is playing Charlie, I don't know if I said Charlie's playing Nick. They're going to turn around and be like, ah, sucker, we got the gay boy, or something, you know, like some sort of horrible homophobic bullying. Because you could see that of Harry. But I just think whenever they're together, you're like, how can you not see that they're in love with each other? Or at least falling for each other, they are really children. So there was sort of glimmers of, like, the way the future could be. I also loved just how honest he was with Imogen. Like, obviously he didn't say, I think I could be gay. Well, I mean, I definitely am gay. Like, he kind of just phrased it in other ways as, like, you know, this friendship group, it's very much being part of that popular crowd. And that was, sorry, I'm getting slightly off topic again. My experiences of being in a British school was the popular crowd was nothing like it is in American movies. And I went to a girls' grammar school, so I'm assuming, I mean, actually, their experience is very similar to mine in a lot of ways, even though I left school 10 years ago. The people, there was definitely a popular crowd, but me and my friends called them, like, the bitches, because they were all horrible. And no one who wasn't in that group cared about them, about what they thought, wanted to be with them. You know, if you were like me and you were a little bit geekier and a bit obviously geekier, you would kind of maybe avoid them if you could, because you knew that they might make a snide comment, but it wouldn't ruin your day, it would be fine. Obviously there were instances of bullying, but the friendship, the girls who had the most arguments and most fallings out, who you could tell didn't really like each other, obviously there were little groups that liked each other, was the popular crowd. It was just full of people who were acting a certain way to be in this crowd that they thought made them feel big and powerful and wonderful. You know, I always remember this one girl, like, who, I was in her class, and I had joined, like, that science group, like, 2 months before, but bear in mind, this is, like, not a huge school. I mean, there are 1,000 or so people, but my name is Joy. It is odd. People will always remember my name in the same way that a name that is odd, I always remember that person's name over someone whose name is, like, Louise, because there are lots of them or whatever. And she came over to my group of friends, and we were, like, the weird geekiest of the people in the room. And she gave everybody their books, and then she was like, Joy, Joy, Joy. And I was just like... And it just was always stuck in my brain because I was like, do you want an Oscar? Like, what? But anyway, that girl was miserable in her friendship group. And you could tell. But anyway, so basically my point is that I understand from the outside what Nick is going through. That kind of group of friends who... There might be people there that he does have a true connection with. And, like, I do potentially think if Imogen isn't constantly trying to take him, they could maybe actually have a real friendship where they talk about the stuff that matters. You know, he will have people that he is closer to, but then there are people like Harry who he despises and who he doesn't feel safe being himself around, and so he has to act a certain way. And you really see that among that kind of crowd of kid at school in British schools, or at the very least in the kind of British school I went to, which is the kind of British school they're going to in this show. So I understand what Nick is going through from that point of view, and I just really hope he is able to stop sitting with them. You know, maybe if he likes Imogen, and maybe if there's a couple of other people that are nice, they could sit by themselves. Maybe he could just go and sit with Charlie and his friends wherever they go when they arrive. But I thought that was just, Nick is learning so much about himself, both who he is as a person and who he is romantically. This dilemma goes so much further than just his sexuality. It's his entire way of life and how he's lived it. And things like, you know, his mum, who's, you know, given that wonderful mum advice of like, you know, don't date someone just because you're feeling sorry for them, and, you know, you'll find the right girl. Boom, instantly that door shuts, and Nick feels like, well, I can't talk about this with you anymore. And I would like to think that, I mean, I know that if that had ever been a situation with me and my mum and she had said something like that, she would have been devastated that she had ever made me feel that way or think that way. And I kind of hope that when Olivia Colman finds out, I don't know what his mum's name is, but she's just Olivia Colman, finds out what Nick's been going through, that she thinks about that comment and is just like, I'm gonna hurl myself off a cliff. Because I also think there's a real expectation in a lot of people in society that I do think with social media and stuff is changing, but there's that Nick doesn't seem gay. I mean, that whole concept is ridiculous, but you know, there are certain people who think every single person who's gay is really camp and you can spot them from a mile off, when you can be camp and straight. Like, it doesn't have to mean anything. So I think she probably feels like Nick has only ever shown interest in girls, or he's never shown interest in boys, so he will just be straight. I don't think she meant anything harsh by it, but it did kind of feel like a slap in the face to Nick that, like, everyone expects him to do a certain thing and he's doing something very, very different. So I am currently very worried about Nick, and I'm also very worried about Charlie, in the sense that I'm worried about Nick because he is going through it. I'm not worried about them in the sense that I truly do believe they are both such good kids with such kind hearts, so I don't think they would ever do anything intentionally malicious or hurtful, but I also think they are going through a lot of difficult, I mean, like, Nick is going through a difficult time of figuring out who he is and who he wants to be, but he's also part of a friendship group that is led by this Harry kid who is a little bastard, and who is not the kind of kid that if Nick were to just be like, I'm going to stop hanging out with you guys now, would just let him go. He would make his life hell, he would make comments about it. You know, it's not going to be a simple thing of Nick just being like, bye, I don't like you. They could make his entire life hell. I mean, I'd like to think that he would have enough other people and friends that stick around him, enough people would know that, like, I mean, it shouldn't make a difference, but enough people would know that Nick Nelson was a cool kid. Was a cool kid. But yeah, that he was like a nice person, and so they wouldn't join in, or they try and stop Harry. I don't know, maybe it could be like a High School Musical-esque moment where the whole school becomes lovely. I don't know, but like, I worry about him just because of what he is going through, and there is a potential chance that I've been worried about for a while now, which is that when things start to get hard, you can kind of just retreat to what's safe. And I also worry about Charlie because he is kind of ripple effect. What happens with Nick is rippling onto him, and if those bullies start to think Nick and Charlie are a thing, they might see Nick as more of a like strong rugby player, like one of us, whereas Charlie is the like other kid that's crap. I mean, I'm just worried basically, but Nick and Charlie are everything. Tao and Elle are also everything, and oh god, what even is their other friend's name? I'm so, is it Matt? I think it's Matt. He seems really nice as well. I'd hang out with him and read books. But no, the whole birthday thing was so sweet. It felt really real as well. Like, the number of times I've gone out with friends, going bowling, and then to the arcade, and then we'd often like go get a film or go see a film or whatever. But that's just because they were all together near where I live. Like, that's just a typical British kid day out. So I'm really enjoying this show. I adore these characters. I am so proud of Nick for how much personal growth and discovery he's going through at the ripe old age of 16, and it's not an easy age to be. But like when he said to Charlie, you know, I wish I'd known you when I was younger, I wish I'd known what I know now when I was younger. You're 16, at the oldest, my sweet boy, it's okay, it's all gonna be okay. You have all of your life ahead of you. You have years of school left ahead of you. You can be whoever you want to be. So this was a lovely episode. Thank you so much, Natasha, for sponsoring, and thank you for watching.